The Versecast is brought to you by Engine. Create your free gaming community website at enjin.com.
Pre-recorded before a live studio audience. We are Pickle Rick! We are Pickle Rick, and you are tuned to episode number 168 of the Versecast, our Star Citizen Gaming Community Podcast. Nah, kidding. We are those guys with ships, and this is... Wait, no. Still kidding. We are those guys in charge, and this is a special quasi-bonus edition of the Versecast, our Star Citizen Gaming Community Podcast. Today is August 16th, 2947. I'm not really here. I'm in the desert, down my rabbit hole. John, how are you? Good to have you back in the hangar. How you been?
I've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Just working, playing video games, sleeping, occasionally
sleeping
eating.
Great. What is sleeping like?
It's an experience.
God,
you just have to try it.
I really do. So, have you seen the Pickle Rick yet?
I saw the preview.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only Rick and Morty thing I've ever seen.
It was my first exposure to the Rick and Morty, and I was in chat the other night with Yellow Stag and a couple of other guys, and I think Yellow Stag was going on about the Pickle Rick, and I'm going, what is this Pickle Rick thing you're talking about? Oh, it's Rick and Morty, and I said, I've heard about that. I heard it's pretty, it's pretty gross, but it's kind of funny, and he said, dude, you just gotta watch it, just check it out. So I did, and it was really good. I should take that back. It's not. I can't say it's really good, but I'm just saying it's the kind of juvenile funny that tickles my juvenile funny bone.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a game for the Oculus Rift, Rick and Morty Virtual Rick-ality.
I heard that one was actually pretty good.
Oh, you did. Because it's like $30, I think, and my and I guess it's a virtual job simulator kind of game. Mm-hmm. But which I haven't played many of those except for the demo that came with the Rift, the one where you get to put the cassettes in and make guns and stuff. My fear for a $30 game is that after the jokes are gone through the first time, then it's going to have very limited playability. But
yeah, I heard it's pretty short. I don't know if I'd pay $30 for it.
So we'll wait for the sale.
Yeah.
But I was I definitely watched the Pickle Rick there. I will link it in the show notes for all y'all. And there was another episode this week which I was watching the other night, and then became just horribly distracted by Wolf Larson as a naked woman in Conan.
Oh,
and
right.
and had to stop and just say, dude, what are you doing? They were having fun. That's what they were doing. And it was still weird. All right, but hey, before we go any further, a big shout-out to our very own Jimmy Croker, who was featured on Citizens of the Stars earlier this week. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, and he gave us a nice plug, so we thank you very hard for that, Jackson. Him and Disco talking about Quantum Drive, mentioned Versecast and those guys with ships. So that was very cool to see someone you knew on the television, on the internet, on your computer. So very cool stuff. So if you haven't checked it out, do check it out. All right, so tonight, very special quasi... No, what did I say? It was quasi-bonus, yes. Very special quasi-bonus edition of the Versecast. We're going to have a Those Guys in Charge show here, go over the org, state of the org a little bit, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Star Citizen. The last few shows, we've been discussing some of my specific dissatisfaction with the way that CIG has been handling a particular aspect of this project, so we're going to get John's opinion on where he's at with CIG and how things have transpired at this point. And so it will be good. So state of the org. You know, it's pretty much right now, Those Guys with Ships, days of other games. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
Yeah, so what do you think is the current hotness out there?
I don't really know. It does seem like a lot of people are playing Worlds Adrift. I don't know. That game was kind of hot for a couple weeks, but maybe like the last week or so I haven't seen as much of that.
Is it still in alpha?
Yeah, I think it's alpha or beta. It's some kind of early access.
Okay. Okay.
I think it just recently launched on Steam, and I picked it up and played a little bit of it, and it seems interesting, but I got kind of lost in like the first couple hours, and I just need to get in there with somebody that knows what they're doing to play it. My problem is, like, I latch on to certain games and I just want to play those. And right now that's just Overwatch, which it has been for over the past year, the entire year, and PUBG, Battlegrounds.
Yeah,
which
I was going to say
really fun.
Either you or somebody that has your Steam account has been playing a lot of PUBG.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have like 70 hours in it now, and I think it's just fun to play some Overwatch and then play a couple rounds of PUBG, because like I said the last time I talked about it, you expect to die, so it's just fun to get in there, maybe get a couple kills, you die, and then you have another round, and it's just get in, get out.
Yeah, it's what I've seen people play on. I don't own it myself, but what I've seen people play online, it looks like like the rounds are substantial enough that it doesn't. They mean something, but they're not so involved and so long, like quest chains in some MMOs, where it's like if you don't have 5 hours to set aside, there's no point in even beginning it.
Yeah, no, most games are going to last 15 minutes. The longest ones might last a half an hour, but that probably means you're going to win or you're close to the win. And when you're that close to the win, it feels really good getting up there. Like, getting the chicken dinner is really like exhilarating. I don't know, there's no game that's like that, because you're being put against 100 other players, and you never get the chance in other games to beat 100 other players.
Yeah, yeah. So is it at first? Is it real laggy? Is it?
Yeah, they start you out on like a small island that's just like a lobby for people to load into, and that's usually pretty laggy because there's 100 people right there. But then they put you in the plane and you fly over the island, and the island is quite large, and everybody just spreads out so much that it doesn't really lag, because the most people that are going to be together in one area is only a few. Okay. So yeah, it runs pretty good. I play it on low because I have a 165 hertz monitor, so I try to get as many frames as I can, and I get like around 100. So it's not the best. It's not the smoothest gaming experience right now. Hopefully they do some whatchamacallit, optimization, that's the word. Yeah, because it'd be nice to crank up the graphics, because in the first place they're not that great. So
well, is it released yet, or is it still in beta?
It's in beta. They plan to release it later this year. So it's not.
And is it's going to be an esport game, right?
I guess. I mean, they're doing some kind of tournament in like next week.
Okay.
I think it might be at Gamescom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'll probably tune in to watch that, because another thing about this game is it's really fun to watch. The Giant Bomb guys do a feature on it every week now, and so 4 of them get in there and play, and they just play for 2 hours, and I watch it every week. It's that enjoyable.
Do they roll faces?
They are not that great.
Well, if they're having fun, that's all
Yeah.
that matters. Well, I was sort of imagining that you would be out on tour and getting rich and lighting your cigars with $50 bills.
Oh, no, I am.
Okay, well, good. Good. I'm glad that expectation is being met. Well, cool. And then 7 Days to Die. It seems like those are kind of like Worlds Adrift, 7 Days to Die, and then I guess Conan had a big patch that hit today.
Yeah.
And so folks have been playing that. So it seems like those are the ones that are the hotness that I notice. Of course, I'm not playing any of those.
I've seen a bunch of people playing Smite.
Yes, that's true
The
too.
Elitas are into that one.
Yeah. Which I never got into, because it's a MOBA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I played a little bit of it. I just can't get into MOBAs.
I just suck at MOBAs.
I suck at MOBAs too.
It's not fun. It's unfun. Well, but anyway, so point being that, while we wait for Star Citizen updates, we do have other games that we're playing, and that's the important thing, is the community. So we are here, versecast.org. We didn't even introduce ourselves, so I'm Gleep. I'm the guy that kind of does the podcast, runs the podcast side of things, and John, the only Jonto, he's the guy that makes everything else work. So I just make noises into a microphone and then say, "Help me, it's broken," and John makes the magic happen. So that's who we are. We're the co-leaders of the Those Guys with Ships Star Citizen organization, and also the folks in charge of John is the guy in charge of the Versecast.org game Star Citizen gaming community website. So
that title was not long enough.
I know, and I'm going to get you a fold-out business card. It's going to be really cool. It's going to look like a
scroll.
Will
it have pop-ups?
You open it up. It will.
Oh my gosh.
And a little thing, where you can, like, with the little thing that hangs down, so you can, like, get back and forth, and the little spaceship will wave at you.
Oh yeah.
Really cool.
And a drawing section.
Absolutely. All right, in a song. When you fold out the last little bit, it's going to sing a song,
yeah.
like a birthday
Which
song or something. I don't know. Alvin and the Chipmunks. How's that?
Alvin and the Chipmunks version of Starships Were Meant to Fly.
Sold! All right. Well, and speaking of Sparthip that are meant to fly, migration to Discord. Now, we talked about that last time that we did one of these shows, and I think it happened, didn't it? It's done.
Yeah,
it is done. And I think it went pretty well. I don't know have you noticed, is anybody using the TeamSpeak server anymore?
I haven't even looked, but my suspicion is no, because the last time I looked was like 2 days after we moved over to Discord, and nobody was there.
Oh, well, I know that Ace still plays a little Arma, and I think there are a couple of guys out there that still play Arma, and for the Task Force Radio, they have to have, I guess that's a plugin that only works on TeamSpeak.
I don't know. I'm betting they don't use that, though, because it seems like a more of a serious thing. And
we don't do that well.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're not. Well, but it is still there as far as you know.
It should be there. If it's not, somebody just tell me if you need it.
Yeah, message the man if you need it. But
I'm always on Discord.
I love the Discord. It's the only thing I don't like about the Discord. What was it I don't like? Well, one thing I don't like is it doesn't have spell check. I'm one of those crazy guys that really it annoys me when I misspell words.
Yeah, that annoys me too.
I don't know how to spell words anymore because of spell check. So when I don't have it, it's like, I need my training wheels.
Yeah, I guess if you use the browser version, it would have it, but I prefer the client because then you get notifications and and it shows what games you're playing.
Right. Didn't Sorian helped out with that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, what he did was he built a bot that adds a role to each person that is playing a game. So it puts everyone that's playing a game into their own role on the right pane of Discord, so you can see who's online and playing and who's not playing.
Right. Maybe he can do a spelling bot.
Yeah, I don't know. Possibly. That would be nice.
Ask him about that, yeah. Get him out of that Gorn arena for 10 minutes.
Gorn is pretty fun. Have you played it?
I have not. It looks therapeutic.
It's kind of brutal, but it's really fun. It's free. I think at least the demo or whatever it is.
Oh, okay. Now, do you is that can you use touch?
Yes, it's definitely a touch game. I don't think you can even play it without it.
Oh, okay. And it supports Rift now, because I thought it was like it was a Vive only thing for a while.
No, I think I just booted it up on I think you just have to start it from the executable, and then it just works on Rift.
Oh, okay. Well, I will add that to my list of my gray list. Might get to it someday games. And then, of course, we made the migration to Discord because eventually we're anticipating we're going to have something Discord-like when we finally end up over on Spectrum, and that will be when we will be able to sort of add that last piece, the forums and the other things that we currently have on our website, like our hangers and other. I hope they allow us to have support for other games. In Spectrum, I can't. I don't know how they would. I don't see why they would want to stop us from doing that, and I don't know if they did, if they would be able to. I mean,
at CitizenCon, it sounded to me like they were just trying to build a client that could work for anything. So you would be able to launch the Star Citizen client, which would effectively be Spectrum, and you could use comms, like voice comms, without being in the game.
Yeah, so there's going to be with a mobile component too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which I think is essential. Or by essential, I mean I want it so bad that it would absolutely have to have it. So when we're able to do all of that stuff in Spectrum, then we'll probably move away from Discord. But we're loving you real hard right now, Discord. So love you, mean it. But who knows when that's going to be? I think that they are releasing a lot of stuff fairly regularly over there. I think but I don't pay attention. I mean, it's pretty much the only time I'm out there is if I'm just surfing the Star Citizen forums, or if when Jimmy's Quantum Drive show is live, I go hang out in our chat, on our org chat over there. So that's a cool thing to be able to do. But yeah, the integrated voice and text, and then I guess with the ability to, because you can do that in Discord, right? You can set up different hierarchies for eventually when we get to the point where we're able to have large operations where we want to have different groups doing different things, and we need to have the ability to go between different groups and have multiple groups hear somebody at the same time, but then be able to exclude other groups, stuff like that.
The whole voice grouping thing in Discord is pretty basic. There isn't really any hierarchy, and there isn't like cross-channel communication, which is one of the reasons why we were sticking with TeamSpeak for a while, but then I didn't see really anybody using that. And when I mentioned it when I asked about moving to Discord on our forums and what people thought about it, nobody really had any thoughts about having to use those features. So I think they will be useful eventually, like once the PTU is fully fleshed out and we're going to have, a bunch of squads going and stuff. But I think that's pretty far off. And I'm hoping that Discord will have a solution for that. by then, or Spectrum will be ready and they'll have that stuff in there.
Well, and because the Spectrum would be especially motivated to have that, because they're, though they may support play of other games, they're supposed to be focusing upon Star Citizen, which that environment is going to kind of demand that kind of comms control. So.
Yeah, you would hope that in the game it'd be the type of thing that you wouldn't even have to set up. Like, you would be in a squad with someone in the game, like in Elite Dangerous, and that would automatically put you in like a voice cluster, and then you'd have to like push some other button to talk to the rest of your org or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to having it in VR, and so we can go old school, and we can like have different like hoses, like when you want to talk to one group, you pull the hose down off the wall and you yell into it, and then when you want to talk to another group.
Oh yeah. I definitely
you probably have never experienced the magic that is the pneumatic tubes.
No.
Look it up on the internet. It's fun. It was fun.
Okay.
It was magic.
It sounds like some kind of steampunk submarine concept.
Absolutely. Just it was steampunk department store 1972. It was excellent. All right, so and then one more thing, loans to the virtual hangar. Now, John, you remember back in the day we had folks that were enjoying what we were doing and wanted to help contribute, and so we kind of put together ad hoc this program where folks would be able to donate a ship, and I'm doing the air quotes thing, the Richard fingers as Jimmy calls it, donate their ship to our virtual hangar, and for other folks in the org to be able to use when the donor was not busy using it. And so that worked pretty well. We had we had about a dozen or so donations to the virtual hangar. And but on the happy hour a couple weeks ago, when the two devs were discussing the insurance, it turns out that there's going to be a deductible to get your ship back after it's gone all splody-splode. So now the way that the current plan is set up for deductibles in 3.0 is, I guess, over a period of time, I think it's 24 hours, that deductible decreases. I don't know how often, if it's minute by minute or every hour. And then after 24 hours, the deductible just goes away. So you just get your ship back for no charge, minus any custom parts you had on it, because you only get a stock build out of it. When it is for realsies, and I'm guessing, in future iterations of alpha, and probably certainly by the time we get to beta, you're going to have to, there's going to be a deductible. So if your ship blows up, then there's going to be some payment to get it back, and which makes sense, because they do want the ships to be valuable. They don't want them to be something that you just run your bangle into the sides of space stations for the lulz every night. They want it to mean something. They want it to be a precious thing. My precious. So I get that, but for the key thing here, to our purposes though, is that if I'm loaning out a ship, I'm going to be, and I know that there's a chance that it could get damaged or blown up, that I'm going to have to pay a deductible on it, because I have LTI on the ships that I had donated to the hangar. So I just assumed they explode, then it's I'm not using it anyway, so it'll be gone for a couple days, and then I'll go get another one. But if I have to pay cash, or not cash money, but cash UEC to get it back, that's going to definitely temper my willingness to be able to loan it to other people. Especially if I'm concerned that they might not be as fastidious with its care as I would prefer. So not a plan killer necessarily, but I think for sure something that we didn't think about back when we devised this plan 30 seconds before we started recording one night.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of waiting that time period out, right? Well,
now it is, but in the future, there's going to be, even a week later, you say, I want to, I loaned my ship to Mad Cow, and he flew it into the sun, and so I would like to have my ship back now, please. Go, okay, that's great, Mr. Gleep. That'll be 50,000 UEC for the deductible. It's like, and I'm like,
okay.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a big deal, I don't think, and I know the cow is good for it. So, Mark, if you're listening, you can still borrow my show. But anyway, just something a little bit different that made my ear kind of go, huh? Like Scooby Doo. But otherwise than that, big picture, I think the org is doing fine. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think we're doing good. I mean, kind of stagnant right now because content releases aren't very exciting. Yeah, I don't know. I think our most activity, specifically in Star Citizen, was when, oh my God, what do you even call it? The part.
Storm Marine?
No, before that.
Oh, Arena Commander?
Yeah, Arena Commander.
The shooty thing?
You can tell that I don't
arena.
follow Star Citizen as closely as I used to. We used to play that all the time, though. I mean, we would play it every week.
Yeah.
We would get together and we would have 20 people playing Arena Commander, and it was fun. I remember killing people.
Yeah. It was a good. Well, you were the chosen one in your Super Hornet. So.
Was I though?
You were. Well, you won everything. You when we had that the competition with those other guys. You were the you were the ace in the hole. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Stag was pretty good though. I don't think I could ever beat Stag.
Well, Stag is not of this planet.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's from Philadelphia. But hey, I'm looking at the Discord right now, and we've got 10 people out playing different games. Chuckster7 is out there actually playing Star Citizen. Yay, Chuckster! But folks playing other things, some PUBG, somebody playing Ark, Black Desert Online, which I understand is a pretty intense MMO. I just don't got time for MMOs. I just don't. Yeah. There's too much of a commitment.
I was going to play some WoW the other day, but I don't know. I just can't pay $15 a month for a game that I only want to play every now and then.
Yeah, I get it. It's not. You have to pick your. I was going to say pick your battles, but that's not really. You have to spend your entertainment dollar wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. All right, well, so I think everything, org report, I think everything is going pretty well. We do these shows periodically just kind of to catch folks up on what the big heads behind the curtain are thinking about when they're thinking at all. And so let's get on to the last couple of shows. We have been discussing my dissatisfaction with CIG and the communication we have been receiving from them regarding what I can expect to play in alpha version 3.0 of the game. Now, this has been building up for a little while, most notably since CitizenCon last year and the Squadron 42 vertical slice fumble fail, or whatever you want to call it. And because I need better communication and don't expect that we will get it anytime soon, I've stopped paying for CIG community content, and I have uninstalled the game. I'm not going to be back until the game reaches some sort of feature complete or the communications get a whole lot better. Now, I used to. I'm not. And I think John, you and I are in the same boat here. I'm not an alpha guy. I mean, I'm not an alpha tester guy. I'm not. I have so little time to actually game. Relatively little time that my idea of enjoyment is not spent. Recording alpha bugs, so definitely full disclosure there. But I was willing to do that back in the day because I believe in the dream, and I still do. I think it's going to be great when it gets done. But I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to participate in the alpha process anymore. And I do believe, bottom line, that relationships of most types need good communication in order to survive and thrive, and without it, they tend to eventually turn toxic. So that's why I got off the alpha train right here where I did. So the last time, since I talked about this with Mark, I didn't find it. Actually, I heard somebody on on one of the other shows, I believe it was on the Captain's Table, it was Papa Dolovac was talking about the pledge, and my ears went up. I said, the pledge? No, I don't think I've ever heard of this pledge, or if I had, it hadn't really registered. But I did a little searching, and I found this document. It's still on CIG's website. And so I have no idea when this came out. Now, John, you just missed the golden ticket by like 20 seconds, right?
I think it was probably by a day.
By a day. Well, that's
yeah.
Relatively speaking.
I think my backer number is like 30,000 something.
Okay.
But that was like one day after the whole thing started, and there were that many people there already.
Okay. All right. So your point being, you've been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you hadn't gotten stuck in traffic that first day, you would have been right in there with the rest of the day one guys.
True, yes.
Okay. Do you remember this pledge? And because it sounds like from the text that it came out after the original, possibly could have come out after the original Kickstarter campaign, because it seems like it's sort of at the end of some stage of the fundraising process. But does it look familiar to you?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, the only thing I remember from the original crowdfunding was the video with the Bengal carrier and just a bunch of levels for backing. I don't remember this letter. I do know that I kind of hate the background they use for these letters.
I don't know what it looks like. High quality paper towel.
Yeah, it's too round.
Yeah, and but Chris did sign it with gold Sharpie, so you know,
yeah,
classy. But anyway, Mark and I were one of the things that we were discussing was. Or one of the things I suggested was that there ought to be a reasonable set of obligations for CIG to have to its backers. And so, voila, hey, I found a document that speaks pretty directly to that. So I'm going to read it to us now. It begins, you've pledged your money to earn your citizenship. Now it's our turn. We, the Star Citizen team at Cloud Imperium, hereby promise to deliver the game you expect. You, the tens of thousands of pledgers, have allowed us to cut out the big publisher and build the game on our terms, to let us focus on quality free of the pressure to deliver by a certain financial quarter, to nurture a new original IP, to put fun ahead of shareholder profits. We, the developer, intend to treat you with the same respect we would give a publisher. You will receive regular updates about the progress of the game. We will do a show and tell for each major milestone. Your voice will be heard and represented in our development docs and our feature wish list. You will see art and video and learn about how we intend to implement gameplay mechanics well before the rest of the world. The website will be updated and the community will be maintained. Though the limitations of the technology may slow us, we will always do the best for you. If it breaks, we will fix it. There may be delays and there may be changes. We recognize that such things are inevitable and would be lying to you if we claimed otherwise. But when that happens, we will treat you with the respect you deserve rather than spending your money on public relations. When we need to change a mechanic or alter something you believe should be in the game, we will tell you exactly why. Your support over the past month has been incredible. You've done your part, and we will now do our utmost to live up to your expectations. We will build you the game you are dreaming about. Signed, Chris Roberts and the Cloud Imperium team. So yeah, I'd say that was probably, he's referring to tens of thousands of pledgers. I'm thinking that's week one.
Yeah.
So way back, and obviously it's 5 years ago. It's 5 years ago, but I think that it is pretty indicative of what they intended, to deliver to the backer community. And of course, since then, people have thrown their wallets at their screens, and we're at 150-something million, and the stretch goals thing got just took off like crazy, so scope has exploded, et cetera, et cetera. But still, I think that the pledges here, they should be still applicable. So what popped out at me about the document is that in the third and fourth paragraphs, that they talk about respect, regular updates about progress, show and tell, and that you will learn about how we intend to implement gameplay mechanics well before the rest of the world. And then when they need to make a change, they'll tell us exactly why. Now, these are some of the promises made in the pledge, and it's signed by Chris Roberts. I don't get that these promises are being met in good faith. It doesn't say before the rest of the world except PC Gamer, and I don't know if you heard the last couple of shows, John, but there was an article in PC Gamer. Actually, it came out yesterday. The magazine actually hit the newsstands in the UK. Don't go looking for it in the US like some people did, and definitely don't put $10 down. Like I didn't do. Can't go close, but I did. But I was able to get a copy of the UK version. And so the fellow in there, he wrote an article. He got to go to it was about a month ago, maybe a little bit more now. Was able to go to CIG in Los Angeles and play a demo of a demo version of some of the stuff that's coming up in 3.0. And so, before the rest of the world and that don't jibe. I mean, that's those two things are different. And so it sort of feels to me like this pledge has fallen by the wayside. Or if not, that the person or group of people responsible for upholding these promises have a much different interpretation of what this document means. So it's words. People have different interpretations of words, but it really, at the end of the day, John, it's a dead horse, and there's not a whole lot to say about it other than that's sort of the basis of my disappointment and my frustration. I'm not salty though, and I've had some conversations with folks, and people think that I'm salty about delays, and that this is what's behind my decision to do what I have done. And it's not. I'm not salty. I'm just disappointed, and I can't depend upon. I don't feel that I can depend upon communication from CIG to. That will allow me to set reasonable expectations for myself, and that just leads to frustration. And I don't need that, and I don't want that to color the game for me. So I'll come back when it's out. I'll come back when I'll come back when it's out, and or when there's a feature complete version out, when it's really clear what it is that I'm expecting to play, and then we'll go from there. But So, of course, no serious conversation would be complete without a Leslie Nielsen joke, so there's nothing to see here. Please move along, and I'll include
so,
the link to that in the show.
Is the PC Gamer article in the magazine different from the PC Gamer article on the website that was posted a month ago?
Yes. And there's a. Did you go to the link I texted earlier today?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Because they're in the document folder here. There is I excerpted the actual article.
Oh, okay. So
you can take.
What are those two things?
How do you mean?
The PC Gamer article from a month ago.
Oh, that was that was a it was sort of a tease. The guy was talking about that he was the first guy to. First man on a planet. I forget what it was called. First person to walk on a planet in Star Citizen, and he was the first non-CIG employee to actually do a planetary landing.
Right. So what's this new article?
So he was teasing the article that he was writing after doing the visit, in which he.
Okay.
And the full article came out yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that we were discussing in text chat with the other fellows earlier today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was a nice article. I can understand your frustration with the fact that they would bring in an outsider to come look at that stuff. But at the same time, this is the first time, to my recollection, that they've done anything like that. So
sure.
I don't know if I can fault them that much, especially, nitpicking this letter that was written 5 years ago. There's a certain point where they need to start doing some marketing for the game, and that involves, showing it to editors from these websites. And as long as they're not doing that like all the time, I feel like it's okay.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it was criminal or anything. It's been so long since the last patch, and people have been so jonesing for 3.0 that it tasted real sour that the first person to actually get a sneak peek was somebody from the media.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be like that. And if you read the article, he talks about that he got to play a mission, and then at one point in the mission, a couple of other CIG employees came in on Nox bikes, and he had a brief battle with them. So, we had discussed in one of the previous shows how cool I thought it would be if and let the guy from PC Gamer be there. I think he's probably a backer, because he had talked about not having played Star Citizen for a long time. I don't know the context of his account. I don't know if it was given to him as a press account or what, but let him be there. But you know what? It looked like there was room for a couple of other people to play too. So why not bring bring Jimmy in, for crying out loud? Jimmy and Wolf, they live right there. They could have come in and played, and that would have been great. And they could have filmed it, and they could have released it later on. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything in the article. Well, I know I read the article today. There was nothing in there that was sort of revelatory. I mean, it was all. I didn't learn anything from the article about what's. There was nothing that was really surprising. I mean, the mission that he did seemed a little bit different than the one that we saw at Citizen or Gamescom last year. But kind of basically a fairly simple couple stops and return back to base kind of thing. But it could have, for a community that has been so loyal and so supportive for so long without an update, it could have been a special thing for some people that I think deserved it more than the press did.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, it's not a horrible they're not having as far as I know, they're not having press only. They're not releasing press copies of the game to people before it goes to Evocati. My main issue again, my main issue is not delays. I mean, delays are frustrating. I understand that, and I would be lying if I didn't say. And I think anybody that tells you that delays are not frustrating at all is not being completely honest about that. But it's frustrating, but it's not. It doesn't make me salty. It's just I get it, and we've had the scope creep, and I get it. How we got to this point doesn't really matter. I think it's going to be awesome when it's out. I do believe it, and I do believe that it will come out. Don't know when. But I'm not salty about that. What I'm salty about is the community, or not what I'm salty. What I'm frustrated about is the communication, and that along the way, as we have these delays, we need to have better communication, because delays without communication is a communication problem. It's not a delay problem. So what are your feelings about the? I mean, I know that you're less involved in it than you used to be. Certainly, probably less involved than in those of us that are involved with doing the shows. Do you have concerns about communications? And share a little bit about what you think about the delays.
think my main concern about communication is actually that there might be too much, because they keep giving us these dates, and they've been doing this for literally 5 years. They've been giving dates and missing them like clockwork. And it just happens over and over again. And the what keeps happening is feature creep. They tell us they're going to deliver a certain thing by a certain date or a time period, and then they come back the next week and they say, we're actually going to be adding 10 times more things, so this isn't going to be in your hands anytime soon.
Right.
And sometimes they don't even know if it's going to be in our hands anytime soon or ever. So that's the thing that irritates me, is they keep telling us they're going to give us something and we don't get it. We were there at CitizenCon, and it sounded like 3.0 was, a couple months out. And
it's supposed to be the end of last year.
Did they say that at CitizenCon?
I believe that was. I believe how it was put was 3.0 by the end of the year. I think they had some sort of timeline on 2.6. That 2.6 was going to be coming very soon. 3.0 by the end of the year, and then 3.1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4.0 by the end of this year.
Yeah. So that's the thing that really irritates me, is the fact that they don't miss dates by a couple months. They've now missed one date by almost an entire year. And they missed Squadron 42 again by an entire year. It was supposed to come out last year. They had trailers that said 2016, and that was a big deal. Like, I was seeing that trailer on IGN and PC Gamer, and that's a huge misstep, especially since we were supposed to see that vertical slice at CitizenCon, and then they made it sound like they were still working on it and that we would see it soon. But we still haven't seen it, and again, it's been almost a year, and that's the thing that I just don't understand. Like, we had the same issue with Star Marine. They said it was going to be out within like a month, and then it came out like many months later. I don't know the time period on that because it was so long ago now, but they just do that over and over again, and I don't understand why they haven't learned from their mistakes. Like, I understand that development is really hard, and that it's always going to take longer than you think it's going to. But, like, why not just not give us a date? Just don't give us a date. And then, like, when you're, like, a week from release or a few days, just say, we're going to release this in a week. Because when you're that close, you know that it's going to be ready within a week or two.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the other edge of that sword. And when they released, when did they start the schedule report? They started that. It was after CitizenCon, wasn't it? Has it been coming up on well, CitizenCon is not for another couple months, so but it's coming up on 9-10 months that we've been getting that, and so that's the. I think they've done a pretty good job of saying, look, these are our internal dates. And they're gonna get pushed, and I don't know where it's happened specifically, but I've heard several times that Chris has said in interviews or in response to questions that he sets very aggressive internal dates as a motivation for his staff. I don't agree that that's a good motivator, but I understand that philosophy. But I agree with you that on the surface, if you're not looking at the dates that they're putting in those production schedules as what they are, which is just internal estimates or internal goals, then it gets very frustrating when those get pushed out, and especially as you're ramping up to a release like 3.0, because it seems like a lot of frustration exploded after this last push of a couple of weeks, and it's been a couple of weeks ago, that there was a lot of frustration that exploded at that point, and it's but I think that a lot of that frustration could have been mitigated with better communication about it. And I think that, all the things that you have stated that are issues for you, the scope creep, there's an example I can think of, and I think where they did a good job was when they did a whole revamp on the damage states. And I forget what it was that they had something in one of the ATVs where one of the engineers said, so-and-so came to me and he said, hey, look, if we do this, look at, if we take this approach to the damage states, look how much reduced overhead there is and how good it looks. I mean, I forget exactly what the details were, but look how much more betterness there is. Mm-hmm. And it was good enough that Chris said, okay, we've got to scrap the way that we were doing damage, go back and implement this process for all damage states for everything. Frustrating, yeah, it's going to add on some more time, but my recollection is that they did a pretty good job of showing this is the old damage state, this is the new damage state, oh my god, this is so much better. Then I get it. It's like, yeah, okay, that's worth it. Thank you very much for sharing that. I'm going to go play something else while you guys get that all handled.
Yeah, it's just that you can't do that for everything. And I think Chris Roberts has a vision that is constantly expanding, like the actual universe. Mm-hmm. And there's really no cutoff point. So, like, after one thing is done, for some reason, they're compelled to improve that thing, like, forever. And I don't really like the fact that they release ships and then they start working on redoing those ships immediately. It feels like they should make a game first and then make it better later. And that's something that I now respect about Elite Dangerous, is that game that they originally released, which was like, what was that, like 3 years ago?
It was like I'd say a little bit more than 2, because it was well after we had started doing the shows, and we began the shows in August of 2014.
Yeah.
So maybe about 2.5, yeah.
Elite Dangerous, it's a thin game. At least it was a thin game. I haven't played it.
It's a tech demo.
Yeah. But the fact is, it's very playable. It's like it's 100% playable. It's super smooth. It looks really nice. The missions work. You can actually play it. And you can play it for a while. I mean, I'm not going to put 100 hours into it right now, but or at least when I bought it. But they built a fully featured game that you can play, and now they're coming out with DLC that adds on these things that is turning it into what Star Citizen wants to be. And part of me, at the time, I thought, wow, Star Citizen is way ahead of Elite Dangerous. They're doing all this stuff. But now I see how that method of development, that progression, might have been better for Star Citizen, because there isn't really a game to play with Star Citizen right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. I still feel like Elite Dangerous. Well, to be fair, I bought into Elite Dangerous. I got in on the beta, and I played it, at release, and I've got 100 something hours into it, and it's so thin, and it's kind of like I'm just over it, and they keep adding. None of the things that they add are appealing to me. But I totally get your point about start out with something that's playable, and then iterate upon that, rather than starting out with something that's less playable and then building that up to a playable point.
Yeah, but the difference is that Elite Dangerous is a game. It's not just playable. Like, Star Citizen has pretty much always been playable. It might not run great. It's a playable thing, but there's no game in it. It's like having a chessboard with chess pieces, but not having the rules to play chess.
Ooh, boy, that was cerebral. Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, and I think that is a legitimate frustration and criticism, and I think it's one that's shared by a lot of people, and I think that sort of the other side of having genius guy, visionary Chris Roberts is that you've got you are sort of you're tied into that vision.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think it's. I mean, and I again, we've talked about on the previous shows. What we see is not. I'm not trying to be frustrated with Disco or Ben or anybody that's on the community show. What they show us is not up to them. I believe that. I mean, I don't know it, but I believe it, and I believe that. And what I've heard is that there's a PR group of folks that we don't know who they are, and they've got their reasons for doing what they do. And I've also heard that Chris has the final say on everything. And so, if that's true, and then you've got Evil Genius Guy is also essentially deciding what gets put out. And one of my frustrations is that what I see coming out is, to me, is a montage of non-contextual images, non-contextual eye candy, and I don't have any sense of what this game is going to be, and I don't think that is I don't think that is information that they couldn't be providing. I think that things are being withheld for the big reveal, and I don't think that that's fair to this community, as loyal and as faithful as we have. If that's not redundant, as we have been these last few years, to make us wait for big reveals at gaming conventions, because that's definitely not that we get to see stuff well before the rest of the world. That's the kind of exact opposite of that. So. Yeah, it's last year at CitizenCon, you were sitting right there. We got in 3.0, we were going to get a 3.0 with 5 basic professions by the end of 2016, and now we're looking at maybe getting 3.0 sometime close to the fourth quarter of this year, but with fewer planets and only about a half of one basic profession. So. To my thinking, that's no bueno, because there's no. I don't feel like there has been some justification presented, but I don't feel like there is a cohesive explanation, an ongoing explanation. Which I think, if you're going to be making changes of that magnitude, that you need to have an ongoing dialogue of why things are changing. And I don't think that we're getting that. So I think that's why suffering. That's why people are getting frustrated and angry, and some people are getting real close to throwing in the towel. I'm not one of them. I punched out, so I'm good. But it was getting to the point where it's like I can't get excited about what's next, because if I do, and I get another disappointment like I had with the vertical slice, and then the vertical slice again at the anniversary sale, I just I'm not going to be able. I'm going to end up hating the game, and I don't want that to happen. So. Yeah. From my perspective, those guys with ships, it's gaming community first and foremost. Star Citizen is the game that has brought us together and for that we thank it. Thank you, Chris Roberts, in your vision. I mean, it's created this game, the promise of this game, which has brought us all together, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And though Star Citizen is important to the community, it's not more important than the friendships we make because of the community. So. And the fun. I want to do this and come here and have fun with my friends, and I did what I did in stepping back from CIG and Star Citizen, and because I got to do what I got to do, and this ain't no kind of fun. So this is the last show that I plan on discussing this topic. Next time, more fart jokes. Yay! Because those are fun.
But you're not stepping back from Star Citizen and CIG. You're just not subscribing.
No, I uninstalled the game.
And you're uninstalling.
Right? No. I'm out until beta. I'm out until beta or until communication improves dramatically. So
okay, but you're not out.
No.
Still,
I mean, I'm not.
You're
I'm
still
not,
in every other aspect. You're just not going to play the game.
Correct. I'm gonna,
I want the viewers to know that, because I don't want them to think that like the show is going to devolve into Rick and Morty.
Fart jokes? I just, those guys with fart jokes. You don't think that's going to work? No. I am still in this for the long run. I'm looking forward to playing this game for many years, but I can't do this alpha process.
Yeah.
The way they're managing this alpha process, I cannot do it, and I'm not going to put myself through the frustration because it's not fun, and I will end up. I know myself well enough that I will end up in a situation where I hate the game, it's like staying in a relationship for too long. A bad relationship for too long, you just end up hating the other person.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes you just got to punch out and you can stay friends.
That's why I stepped back, because like this trickle of content that wasn't that much fun to me wasn't a fun way to experience Star Citizen. So now I'm kind of just like sitting back and watching what they have planned and what they're showing off, and listening to the Versecast and what you guys have to say about it, and I'm just waiting for there to be a full game that I can spend a lot of hours into, and then I'll come back in and start playing. Right.
Exactly. So what I'm looking forward to is when I come back in, it's going to be an awesome experience.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be, it's not going to be. I'm not going to see all the cool stuff for the very first time. But when I come together, when I come back, I'm thinking it's going to be a much better holistic environment, if that makes any kind of sense. Mm-hmm. Are there holistic gaming environments? Is that a thing?
I hope so.
You would think.
Something I was just thinking about is somewhere on a hard drive at CIG is full motion capture data from Gillian Anderson, Mark Hamill, Mark Strong, all those people. It's just sitting there, and we don't get to see any of it.
I know. It's killing me. Well, let's see what they do at Gamescom. I mean, part of me is going to be frustrated again, like if they show 3.0 at Gamescom, because I'm back to my Before the Rest of the World issue. But I'll also be excited, like if it's something that looks cool. I mean, I'm still not going to play it, but just because I've moved on and I have my criteria for my return. But still, I'm gonna watch all the shows. I'm gonna continue talking. Enjoy doing the shows with the rest of the cast, and dreaming about the future. But I just can't participate in the alpha in the process the way that it's set up now. And so if it changes, then I can reconsider. But if not, then I got to wait until there's more of a game to participate in than what we currently have. No more tech demos. So have you been playing anything else? I know you're a man of few games, but you're fiercely loyal to those games while you're playing them.
Yeah, I play a lot of Overwatch. I think I'm level 760 now.
Is that like in the world? Like you're in the top 1,000 in the world? Oh my God, you're a hero!
That's just XP leveling.
Oh, okay. I know what that means.
That means I've put in like 650 hours into the game.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's probably not healthy, but it's fun. My competitive rank this season has been pretty bad. I've been stuck in mid-diamond, whereas last season I was in mid-master and almost hit grandmaster. But this season has just been horrible, and I hate it, and I hope that next season is better, because I want to kill myself after playing this game. but I still play it. Damn it.
Well, and it's interesting because when we talk about delays, how long, and back to your point about dates, because Blizzard never gives dates, right?
No, not really. I mean,
which,
like 2 weeks out they do.
But to be fair, Blizzard is not an open development environment.
Right.
CIG has made this promise, to develop in the open. So I see how they got to the point where they were putting this. But anyway, how long? Because was Overwatch was made from parts of another MMO that they abandoned after like some crazy amount of time. Is that correct?
Yeah. So they were working on Titan, which was supposed to be a whole new MMO. I don't know. I think it was in development for like 7 years or something. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't work out. And then one day we just heard that Titan is no longer in development. And then like a year or so later, they announced Overwatch, and we heard that it was created from parts of Titan. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is that Titan was just like a traditional MMO. So this game is like completely different, and you can even look up concept art of Titan, and there's like crazy, weird, like futuristic, biological creature things in it that you don't see in Overwatch. So I think they took like elements of like character abilities and put it into Overwatch and made it a first-person shooter.
So because Titan was built from the ground up, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, and so follow me here. I'm drawing a comparison. So they did have Blizzard was a thing, and they had a studio, and they had talent. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. But from when Titan started to when Overwatch released, how long was that? Do you recall?
Gosh, I don't even know how long Titan was supposedly in development. So I don't know if anybody does, honestly.
But I thought it was like 7 years or 9 years or something like that.
It
was
could
some crazy
be, but
period of time. Yeah, so
I don't know.
Anyway,
they're kind of tight-lipped on internal development stuff.
So point being, I hope you enjoyed the way my analogy fell apart as much as I did. That it takes a long time to build a quality game. So
that's true. I don't know if you could compare Titan though, because those kind of things. You don't know how dedicated they're working on it. They might have like half a team working on it just to see if it goes somewhere. Absolutely.
But but when it works, I'm asking you now, John. Was it worth whatever it took to get to Overwatch? Was it worth it?
It was worth it. It was worth my $60.
It was 650 hours of your young life worth it.
I don't know where it all went.
I have 225 hours in GTA 5, and that's like just an enormous, because I don't have that many hours left, John.
When you were 23, what were you playing? Surely you played something that you put hundreds of hours into.
23. Well, John, we didn't have computers then.
Damn.
Frisbee. I played a lot of Ultimate Frisbee.
There you go. Come on.
But not 650 hours.
There's got to be a game out there that you put that much time. Minecraft.
That's interesting, because I don't think there is a counter for Minecraft, is there? Especially not across all the different versions, because I haven't played.
Yeah.
I've been playing Uncle Bill's Windows 10 version since it came out, so that was actually
something that irritated me when I was playing Minecraft, because after every update, or every time I installed it, which happened to be all the time, it would reset the stats. And the stats weren't even in there until later, so I had no idea how long I played. And for some reason, I really like to know how long I played in a game that I've played a lot of.
Yeah, it's a badge of honor, a badge of shame. It's all those things. It's all those things, and a number to impress your friends and disappoint your parents.
Yeah.
All right. So I picked up Interstellar Rift, which is. Did you ever pick that up? Because I know you played the Pulsar with us a little bit.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Check it out on Steam. It's $15, and I've heard it. One of the guys that do one of the other shows on YouTube, Citizen Gamer, I think is the guys. And I apologize, guys, for not remembering. I listen to your show every week, and I like your stuff. But they have been playing it, and we're talking about it and saying, hey, if you got $15, go check it out. It's fun. And the comparison that they make is that it is Space Engineers meets The Promise of Star Citizen. Definitely not visually equivalent, but just some of those ideas. And it is in alpha, and there's gameplay in there. So there's that. But definitely interesting. Check it out. I've not actually played it with other people yet. I haven't found other folks in our group who are playing it, but I think it's a game that's going to have some potential for the future as we continue to wait. And Iron Wolf VR, I picked that up for the Oculus. They finally added Oculus support for it. It had been a Vive only for a while, and it is also, I believe it's still early development, but it's a submarine simulator.
Yeah, I've seen this game.
Yeah,
that one was tempting. I almost bought that one.
We'll pick it up and we'll play. Branch out a little bit.
Is it multiplayer?
Yeah, I think
feel like
it's co-op. It's co-op.
It is co-op. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think it was co-op when I looked at it.
That could be, because it is. Does it say you've got the page up? It's early access, right? It
says multiplayer, online multiplayer, local multiplayer, co-op, online co-op, local co-op. It's got every kind of co-op multiplayer you could think
It's got
of.
all the co-ops. There you go.
How does it have local co-op?
LAN party.
No.
How cool would that be?
Wait, no. Local co-op on Steam means it's on the same machine.
Ooh.
You can't do VR. That's not.
You'd have to have a really kick-ass computer. Pulsar Lost Colony, you've played that with us. That's kind of fun. The old reliable GTA Online. It's just like every time I lose interest in that game, because I put so many hours into it, I don't lose interest, but I just kind of like have played it out for a while. They release just something ridiculous over the top. It's like, okay, I got to go back in. I got to go back in and check this out. So I forget there's like some crazy vehicle with machine guns, mounted, on the front bumper, and it's just like, it never gets old. And the Star Trek Bridge Crew. You never picked that up, did you?
I didn't.
It's rough for. I mean, I can see paying full freight for that. But it's it's sort of a guilty pleasure just because it's Star Trek, and all your Star Trek jokes, and you can be a Vulcan, you can be a hot Vulcan chick, So I mean, it's what's not to love.
Yeah, I kind of vicariously played it through watching Giant Bomb play it. Because they got a full crew in their studio to play, and that was really fun to watch. But at the end, even they were talking about how it seemed kind of thin on content, and they only played for like an hour and a half, and that was kind of the thing that made me not want to pay money for it. It seems like it would be fun for like a few rounds, and then you kind of get bored of it.
I think so. I mean, it's kind of the thing where it's got to be the draw of the game. It's like, hey, I'm on the bridge of the Enterprise, yay! I mean, it's got to be kind of that guilty pleasure.
That's kind of VR though. Like that kind of defines every experience for it. Is there anything you play that you find yourself coming back to regularly?
Right now, Lone Echo.
Okay.
Just because of the story. The story is the gameplay. The gameplay is so immersive, but it's a large part of that new gameplay is the new tech too. So it's learning how to float in zero G, because the early zero G games were kind of wonky and disoriented. Like the space station one. What was that? The ISS space station.
Oh yeah.
The International Space Station. That one, and you get to play with the joystick, and it was really cool. But it was like after 15 minutes or so, I'm
that one irritated me because the momentum on pulling with the touch was not realistic.
No.
So like you would pull and then you'd like move a little bit, but you wouldn't, like you'd keep moving, but it was slow. Like, if I was in real 0G and I grabbed something and pulled real hard, I'd be moving.
That's how a lone echo is. You're definitely, because eventually you get outside the space station and you're going from structure to structure, and you just one quick grab and pull, and you're going pretty good.
That's what I want.
But there is the Echo Arena, which is the multiplayer version, which is basically SATA Ball or Ender's Game or whatever you want to call it, and that's free. So you can, and I know that Avi and Sorian have played it, and Sorian said he enjoyed it. So I'm not really that PvP guy, but check that out. And it's all co-op. It's fun. It's all in space too, except for the GTA. There's a GTA mod that's out. Have you seen that? Though it's an outer space GTA mod.
I saw something about that.
Do you do any of the GTA mods? I've been scared. I'm afraid to get my account banned.
No, well, are they banning accounts though?
I don't know.
Probably not for single player stuff, because they allowed the open 4 thing. That was the thing that everybody was complaining about, and now it's allowed again.
Oh, it is, because they cracked down on it for a while, right?
Yeah, they disallowed it. They DMCA'd them or whatever. But then the reviews on Steam plummeted so much that they opened it back up, and now they're allowing people to use it. But they don't allow any mods in multiplayer, to my knowledge.
Yeah, because when the hacking was bad, that was discouraging.
Yeah,
that was really it was discouraging. Because they would some guy would come in and drop a bunch of money on you. As a the first one's free enticement to get you to go to his website and buy money from him. And I was always afraid that because you couldn't do anything about it. It would just land on you, and you couldn't do anything about it. So I would always report the guy and then spend the money anyway.
Yeah, see, that's not really, you can't really blame the people doing that or the tools being created for that. You can only blame Rockstar for not building smart enough anti-cheat to keep that stuff out. Because, I don't really know how servers and all that stuff works, but it seems to me like it shouldn't be that hard to say, well, this person didn't do anything to get that millions of dollars, so why do they have it? And maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know what I'm talking about with game development, but I think you have to blame the developer before you blame the people that are hacking, because with Overwatch,
let's blame them all.
let's just blame everybody. But with Overwatch, I rarely see hackers, and I think that's because they crack down on them so hard, and they're constantly coming out with, they've released lists of players that they've banned, and the fact that they've banned, over the weekend they banned 100,000 accounts in China or something, because hacking is so bad over there, and they're always coming out and talking about how they're preventing this and how they're creating better reporting tools and stuff like that. And it doesn't sound like Rockstar's really doing that stuff. They're just raking in all this money they're making with GTA Online.
So, John, what you're saying is the key to a successful relationship is communication.
There's a concept for you.
And, of course, I've said it several times, I'll say it again, Lone Echo. So you've seen the movie Gravity, right?
Yeah.
You've seen Zero G Sandra Bullock, right?
I saw that.
All right. Well, play Lone Echo. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Maybe I will.
It'll go on sale. All right, and Jonto's forum report, we haven't got to that in a while. There were a couple things you posted up there. No Gun Shogun, he said a really nice thing. And then there was some other weenie head that said something else, which I'm just not going to repeat because it's not nice. So
I think we should read it.
You can if you want. Well, no, because it's mean.
So?
I'm not here for the mean. I'm here for the... I'm here for the gloppy adulation.
Okay, let's just read it, and then people can write in and tell us if they agree or disagree.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, we have to have some criticism.
I know.
All right. Great content, poor sound quality, 3 stars from Dobbs773, June 15th, 2017. Title says it all. I've listened to several episodes and determined that their content is exceptional. See, there's some good stuff. But nice. The sound quality needs much improvement. Sibilance. Like that word?
I like sibilance. You know, it's what I say every time before we start recording. When I'm checking my Audacity, I say that because Tom Hanks did.
Sibilance is overwhelming. Hissing S sounds. The S sounds.
Thank you very much.
Extra ambient sounds are distracting. Overall sound quality is low. I like to see them address the sound issues.
We're not professionals here. We're a bunch of hacks.
Enough S sounds in that review that this should be a good test for him. I don't know. It's really hard to mix podcasts when you're going over the internet because everybody has a different mic. Everybody's dealing with different levels, and syncing up everything.
Yeah, and I think I've noticed is that the sound quality on playback is different across devices. It sounds much different on my computer than it sounds on my iPhone, than it sounds in the car. So I think Jimmy does an extraordinary job.
Yeah, he does a good job for what he has to work with. It'd be awesome if we all had the same mics and if they were all set exactly the same, and if we were all in the same room, and if we paid somebody to mix the show. That stuff would all be great, but it's just not. I don't know. I've listened to other Star Citizen podcasts that do basically the same thing as us, and they don't sound as good normally. I feel like we do pretty good for what we have. Sometimes we have the odd show where somebody's mic did something weird, and it turns out sounding bad, and you can't really expect Jimmy, who is the guy that knows how to mix it, to spend hours and hours fixing somebody's track. So honestly, you just have to live with it.
You'll see he goes way above and beyond. Because because folks, how much you paying for it? Really? Come on.
It's cheap. It's $0.
Very reasonably priced. All right, so we'll try harder. I'll work on my sibilances. Okay, forum feedback. I wanted to get to this before I leave this topic forever and ever and ever and ever, we did get some feedback that I do want to acknowledge. So Bennu posted in the forums. I want to thank him for taking the time to comment, and he encouraged me to use my imagination. And what he doesn't understand is that I'm old and my imagination is all dried up. So I need CIG to show me the goodies. But seriously, we do have Gamescom coming up next week, and CIG has plans to be streaming daily from the floor the latest Star Citizen gameplay. And it will be interesting, I think I said this already, it will be interesting to see what that means. If it's 3.0, my first question is going to be why the world stage before backers? Actually, it's going to be my only question, so I'm not even going to bother asking that, because this is the end of that. So, mail. We did receive some mail to comms@versecast.org. Jay Cooper emailed us, and he said, long email, but what he said is consider the development branches, and my response is show me QA testing those development branches. Stop showing me montages of non-contextual eye candy. I made that one up. I like that one, non-contextual eye candy. And I believe the CIG needs to explain to us what they can't show and why. They need to dedicate some resources to that. Take somebody off of one of the other things that they're doing and put them on that if they can't assign another body to that. And again, we're going to see what happens at Gamescom. And then Sandman, good gravy, wow! I thought I wrote a lot. Anyway, Sandman, thank you so much for taking the time to send the response that you did. And broad strokes, he believes and argues extensively that the answers to my questions are in the materials which have already been released to us, and obviously I disagree. And again, the montages of non-contextual eye candy is not gameplay, it is window dressing. And I I could and have made up great stories from that window dressing for what's ahead for all of us in the future. But what I needed, leading up to my decision point, was some discrete contextual words and discrete visual information to answer my one simple question, which was, what am I going to be able to do in Alpha 3.0? I never got that answer, so I punched out, and them's my reasons. And then the old Gleepster received an email. Doesn't happen very often. From our good friend Lakandi. And full disclosure, I've met Lakandi in real life a couple of times. He was one of the folks that played Artemis Bridge Crew over at Avi's house. There were a couple parties over there that Avi was kind enough to host for everybody. And
he was at CitizenCon.
He was at CitizenCon too.
Love him.
And he's a very nice guy. And he is, I'm outing him now, he is the friend who I mentioned in the first show who coined the phrase, but where's the game?
In the first episode of the Versecast?
No, the first...
Oh my gosh!
The first episode of this trilogy of the Blue Guy wines. Huh? That doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, so a couple episodes ago. So, anyway, he was the one, and he's proud of it. And though he and I met through this community, we actually, interesting coincidence, we actually worked together for a time at the same institution on the very same campus. Although we were in different departments and we didn't actually know each other. But what I do know for a fact from that fact is that what he did work on there was very high-profile projects, and which were tasked to only the best and brightest talent available. So suffice it to say, he has got some cred in my book, and he also shared this inspirational video, John, which you can click on there. It's called "This Unicorn Changed the Way I Poop," which in my book is nearly as good.
Okay, I'm done.
But anyway, he sent this great email, and I you know what? I didn't put it in this paragraph here. Lakandi is a software developer. He's or a programmer guy. He's very knowledgeable in the ways of the computer program project development things. So he said, "Hey, Gleep, I am sharing my own observations from my own professional experience, which may or may not have the full view of what was going on." So I guess I should back up a little bit. We had a conversation in Discord chat where we were talking about, after the first of the trilogy, talking about what was actually, because one of my criticisms was they weren't showing enough gameplay, and some people were saying, well, they can't show gameplay because of the way that they do these developments, where the different branches are built separately, and then you can't really show anything until everything comes together. And I was, saying, well, if they're doing testing at the branch, show me the branch testing. And so some folks weighed in. I want to thank again Sorian and Aviphysics for an extended conversation about the relative merits of waterfall versus agile development methodologies. I know these words, I don't know what they mean, but I think that CIG is doing a variety of agile. So anyway, but point being, Lakandi knows all these things, and he said, I am sharing my observations from my own professional experience, which may or may not have the full view on what was going on. So we had an analogy about building a home. Which in some ways worked pretty well, in some other ways was sort of problematic. And so what he said is, and again I'm excerpting this, he said, as you say, they have been building a bunch of tech demos. It's like going into IKEA and seeing all the cool kitchens, bedrooms, offices, etc. They are cool setups that are not part of a real livable house. I think is an excellent analogy there. In my opinion, what we have seen from CIG is much the same. The stuff they are showing is cool. I would love to be able to play with many of those things in the PU, but I honestly have not seen how they are going to work together. The drawback is that all of these demonstrations are in a silo. So, okay, Good. So then relative to software development realities and tactics, he says, I have worked on projects from a few $100,000 to over $500 million in budget. I have seen a full spectrum of project management successes and horrific blunders. Generally, the blunders follow the following pattern. The team working on the project underestimated the amount of work necessary to deliver the unicorn the client wanted. Yay, unicorns! I want a unicorn that poops ice cream. The reasons for this are generally due to communication problems, like the client purposefully didn't tell certain details, or the business analyst was inexperienced in the field and did not know what questions to ask. So what can happen is the team can suggest a minor scope creep to get slightly more budget and extend the deadline. What can happen from here is that they say the new scope of work is going to affect the original scope, so they cannot deliver that now, but the extension will allow something much more like what the client wants and needs. So instead of getting just a unicorn, you are promised this. Yes, and another link to the unicorn that craps ice cream. Whether that is actually delivered is another story. So then, now in reference to the schedule report and the tactics of it, he said the one thing that the delivery reports did do is tell us what was not complete. The thing they missed the mark on is actual time estimation. And I think this speaks to your frustration, John. The burn downs were interesting. Have you seen the most recent ATV and the burn down segment?
No.
Okay, check it out. It's interesting. They removed the dates. They removed the dates, and they're just showing the numbers of bugs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Between now and estimated between now and Evocati. Although every day they kill some and they get more, so it's kind of a balancing thing there. But it's at the end of the day, hopefully net they have fewer bugs left over. But that's not something you can really predict, I guess. The thing they missed the mark on is the actual time estimation. Yes, the burn downs were interesting. I am not sure how helpful they will be. This is a tactic that is used to provide transparency, in quotes, without actually showing what is going on. Aaron Kyron Davis showed that there were a bunch of bugs. They cleaned out a few out and found a few more. That's a little about the severity. There's little about the severity of the bug, but really it says nothing. It's an executive summary that projects will sometimes use to give stakeholders a view of progress, again, in quotes. One of the frustrating challenges is that we literally have not been able to see the core gameplay outside of dogfighting. And I would like, to your point, John, it's like when we were doing the dogfighting, that was fun. We were having fun together.
Yeah.
Gameplay. Mark talked about watching the inventory move around is gameplay to him. His point of view is perfectly acceptable. Absolutely, Mark. That's something that Mark is looking forward to do, and absolutely, that's if that's gameplay to him, that's fantastic. The thing for me was just a cut from a developer's machine, right? Was that just a cut from a developer's machine right after they finished coding it, or was that something that a tester was using? If it's the former, I say it's IKEA, not gameplay. And I think that's why I think the IKEA reference is so valuable. It's because, like, you go into IKEA and they have a kitchen set up there. It's not a working kitchen. It looks really, really cool, but if you go up there and try to start the dishwasher, nothing happens. Well, hopefully nothing happens. So, I mean, even more so if it's a bathroom. So then that's another way of stating my point about the non-contextual eye candy is I don't know what what that has to do with me. Show me what that has to do with me is what that was my complaint. Great. They said, okay, we got 2 3.0 tech demos last year. Is that what they plan on showing this time? We don't know. Another tech demo for 3.0. One thing I can say is that before CitizenCon last year, they were killing it on showing us awesome that we hadn't seen before. Since then, we got Star Marine. And Star Marine was cool. It was cool for a little while, but it hasn't been iterated upon since it was released back, was it 7 months ago? And then now he speaks to the roadmap. I will go as far as to say that the statements on Squadron 42 last year were intentionally vague and misleading. Yes, every asset was in gray box or better, but that did not mean the game was near gold. It's obvious that render-to-texture is going to be in Squadron 42. Are they going to push the game every time they come up with a new tech implementation? What else is up with Squadron 42? This blackout on Squadron 42 has to be among the most damaging of CIG's behaviors. And I agree, we've heard nothing about Squadron 42 since Chris made that announcement about it being in Gray Box last year at CitizenCon. They talk about a schedule similar to the one that we've been getting for 3.0, but as of yet, we're not seeing anything. But John, interesting. The rumor of a vertical slice has re-emerged. So, I hope that if they're going to show it, they do it, and I hope that if they're not going to show it, they get on top of that and squash that rumor now. Don't let it go to the day of the event and then say, "Oh, I hear a lot of you people are," like they did for the anniversary sale. It's come to my attention that a lot of people in the forums have been jonesing for the vertical slice. We're not doing that. That was the email that Chris sent out the day before the anniversary sale. Hello? I mean, that's not a good way to, like you said, with Blizzard or Rockstar, to manage the player's experience or the expectations for the player experience.
Yeah.
And so then, in conclusion, he says, I like the IKEA versus actual gameplay comparison. Maybe we can ask, is this just an IKEA demonstration, or is this integrated into the build with actual gameplay involved? He said, I have your back on CIG's communication. It hasn't been great, and I don't expect it to ever reach the level you require. I also wonder if you may be suffering some Star Citizen fatigue. Yeah, sure, absolutely, but that's, it's not Star Citizen fatigue like I'm tired of playing the game. I haven't played the game in a long time. I'm frustrated by the communication, and that is fatiguing. So that's what that's all about. Then he says some nice things and mentions his lovely fiance and stuff like that. So Lakandi, thank you so very much for that. Yes, John.
The most fascinating element of this email is the fact that he's worked on a $500 million project.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to know what that is.
I think it was the one that he worked on when we were at the same place. So, large government institution.
Because that is insane. Like,
dude,
I don't
crazy.
I'm not in that realm, so I don't know like what things cost and like how is there something that costs $500 million that's software?
Yeah. You know what? There are a lot of taxpayers that have the same question.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway, it's and I apologize for the choppiness of that. Lakandi, Lakandi's been on vacation, and so he just got back to me today. So I chopped this up as quick as I could to be sure to include it tonight, because I thought that his perspective and his experience and his insights are certainly valuable. We're not saying we know what's going on at CIG, but we're just trying to leverage knowledge where we find it and try to make it fit into the problems that we're having, and use what we can learn to help make the transition forward a little easier. And I don't think at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. Yep. Right? All right. John, you were concerned that we weren't going to have enough to talk about.
Yeah, those were my exact words.
Sort of. Well, and I've been putting this off the last few weeks too, so let's, before we get out of here, get to this. We have some new members over on the website. We have Tuta Loser. Is that how you would say that?
Total
loser. God. Oh. It's the capitalization. What do they call that? There's a name for that. For when you have a no spaces, but you capitalize the first letter of every word. I forget. There's yeah. I don't know. That's another fact that, along with 375, will get you a small latte. Chuckster7 joined us, as did Fizzer and Clarkster7. Now, Clarkster7 is, I believe, Chuckster7's son or daughter, so that's really cool. Chuckster joined the group and has been pretty active out there. He was playing Star Citizen a little while ago. I don't know if he's out there now. No, don't see him. Then Clark ABC. This is also his Chuckster. He joined us on on RSI. So he's a member of Those Guys with Ships. Oh, I take it back. That's not him. He joined, Chuckster7 joined us previously. Clark ABC is his kid's account. So welcome, Chuckster's kid. And then someone named S joined us, and he said, fly casual. So sage advice there. And John, I don't know if you're hip to the saga of Bob the Dinosaur, are you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because you have a rich, rewarding life full of people who love you.
Okay.
We have this guy here.
Now.
His name is Bob the Dinosaur, and he would have been the 6th member of the org way back in 1384, but he has too many org affiliations, and I can't accept his application. So we've begged, we've pleaded, dare I say even threatened, very softly, all to no avail, and we are prepared to rent milk carton and or bus bench space. We will find you, Bob. We will find you, and we will make your life better, whether you wish it to be or not. And that was, see, when he originally applied, that's how he spells his name.
Oh, because I think, did I see that guy's application on our?
It's still there. Yeah,
it's been up there for a while.
Yeah, because every time I try to accept it, it says denied. Bob has too many
I actually clicked on his name to look at his profile.
Oh, you're not going to tell me that he doesn't exist anymore, are you?
No, it says currently on probation until 2027. Like actual 2027 for misconduct.
Oh. Thanks, John.
So,
Bob.
Maybe
so
you don't want to accept that.
We're gonna have to start scouring the prisons for him. Well, I'm gonna have to talk to the other guys about how we want to handle
What
this.
did he do that he got banned from a virtual website for 10 years?
I don't know, but
did he
it's become a
someone?
thing.
Did he virtually murder someone?
I don't know. What do you do? Oh my God! All right, well, John, do you got anything else, or should we just get the heck out of here?
I think I'm done. I think I need to go play some Overwatch.
It's been a while. It's been minutes.
Yeah, gosh.
It's been minutes since you've played. Well, thank you so much for coming back out, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Yeah, it was fun.
We are those guys in charge. If you have any compliments about the show or the website, you can send those to me. Complaints, those go to John.
I'll take them.
And
I'll throw them in the trash.
You'll read them on the show, is what you'll do.
Yeah, I will. That's what I mean.
All right, but until then, please do go to engine.com. They are the quick, easy, and free solution for hosting your community website. That is enjin.com. Be sure to check out Star Citizen The Base Radio at thebase.sc, where you can find rebroadcasts of our shows happening throughout the week. Go to INN and learn some things. You can find it at imperialnews.network. You can reach us. You can reach the show. You can reach the podcast. You can email us. comms@versecast.org is the address. On Twitter, we are at Versecast. We ask that you do be sure to use the hashtag TGWS. We've had a couple of interesting, because TGWS can also be an acronym for other words besides Those Guys with Ships. So we've had a couple of...
No, it can't.
We've had a couple of interesting ones of late, so go check that out. To join our org, you still do have to go to robertsspaceindustries.com/orgs/Versecast. Probationary Bob is in the way. I don't know what you do. This is very disturbing. Do the Spectrum. All the kids are doing it. It is still at robertsspaceindustries.com/spectrum/community/Versecast. On Steam, we are Those Guys with Ships, and do be sure to check out our Star Citizen gaming community website. It is versecast.org. Before the rest of the world, John, my name was Gleep, and all my contact information was in the show notes. Jonto?
You should come join us on Discord. You can find an invite link over at versecast.org. If you want to contact me, just get on that Discord. I'm always online, so you can message me.
Yes.
You can find me on Twitter at TheOnlyJonto, and you can email me at john@versecast.org.
Until next time, we are Those Guys in Charge. This has been the Versecast.
see the verse.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you about Thrawn. You notice I changed my avatar to Thrawn. You don't know who Thrawn is? I thought you were like a Rebels guy. Star Wars.
That animated crap.
I'm reading the Thrawn book right now. It is so good. So good. But he's blue! So that's why, I thought he was really cool, because he's blue. He's blue and he's evil. He's kind of like Vader, except you like him. Well, you like Vader. You like Vader.
I do like Vader, but I don't know what you're going Thrawn about.